Creepy Weasel, arguably one of the greatest nicknames I've ever heard, along with probably the greatest mullet I've seen since Miguel Torres.
And Steve Montgomery says that his strengths are his heart, his technique, his cardio, and his mullet.
And there's a nice combination. Right hook, left hand behind it. Again, short punches by Montgomery. Holy smokes! What a finish! The Creepy Weasel turning the lights out.
Your winner by knockout, Steve the Creepy Weasel Montgomery.
Hi guys, it's the ghost of Bob Ross, here to read you a poem. Let's begin. Hola, creeps. Chirp chirp to all you weasels. Don't flex while I prep the left of your neck to inject a needle of diesel. Infect your mind with measles and turn your thoughts into beetles. Yes, it's less than lethal. These creepy thoughts aren't evil. The satellite's glued, so pour your booze. Let's soar, my gleeful eagles. Thanks, Ghost of Bob Ross, for reading that extra creepy poem. Alright, guys, satellite's operating, and the meter's saying we've got how much? Only 80% of your attention span? What are you doing with the other 20%? You texting? You better not be watching something on a naughty website. That'd be really creepy, and we can't have that on the Creepcast. So drop what you're doing. Just accept the voices in your head for the next hour. I was actually seriously. Let's get through Protherius right now. I was really fortunate. My coach and good friend Mike Brown he took the time today, and he's gonna help me creep on the cast later on. We're gonna ring him up in a second here. I gotta say, dude, doing this podcast has really helped with my cabin fever. I tweaked my knee, an old injury, a couple weeks back, and man, I'm just going nuts. I was like one of those overtrained knuckle dragging idiots. I don't need to stretch, just train more, and yeah, paid the price. So got a little crutchy crutch going on for the next couple weeks, and I'm kind of going nuts. Even doing, I'm sitting there just in my garage just lifting dumbbells all day for like 4 hours just trying to keep sane, but showering's a nightmare, so my pits stink. So yeah, this podcast is keeping me sane right now, and I actually do have to shout out really quick Dr. Al DeSimone, Dr. Howard Gelb. These guys are amazing, and they have gone out of their way to make sure that I am taken care of. Dr. Al, I had the injury worked on last year, and as I said, like an idiot, I just completely overtrained, didn't stretch, didn't keep up with physical therapy into when, it was totally healed. You should keep up the physical therapy and keep it strong. I did not do that, and I put it through way more gunk and garbage and hard training than I did the first time to hurt it, and it kept going even stronger, and then I hurt it again, and now, Dr. Al DeSimone did this surgery and did a killer job, and Dr. Gelb's going to help me with the rehab. So I've got two of the best ortho surgeons in South Florida going out of their way for me, and I can't thank them enough. So if you're in the Weston area, you'd better check out Dr. Al DeSimone. That's the #1 guy to go to if you've got a knee injury, shoulder injury, and plenty other types of injuries they can help you with. They are phenomenal. And if you are in the Boca Raton area or anywhere around there and you've got any type of sports injury or it's not just athletes, they help people of every walk of life. And Dr. Howard Gelb over there right there at the West Boca Hospital. So shout outs to those guys. They have gone out of their way to help me. I'm very appreciative. And so I just got to read a couple of ads here real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and call up Mike Brown and get him on here. I know that's what y'all are really listening for. Y'all don't want to hear me ramble. All right, #1, guys, like always, GardenOfLife.com or just Garden of Life, the supplement company. This is I actually just got a new shipment of products, and it's some of the magnesium and then some of the brain products and the MCT oil. Brain products meaning it's a bunch of different healthy fats that are supposed to help with cognitive brain function. Either way, it's just really, really good stuff. And the best part is it's all organic. It's not gonna, if it doesn't do anything for you, it's not going to do anything against you. It's got no side effects. You can't eat too much spinach, can you, Popeye? So go to GardenOfLife.com, and use the promo code Ambassador20, and it'll get you 20% off. So you can go buy it in the store, you can go to GNC, you can go to all those other places, but you're not going to get 20% off. And their website is already cheaper to begin with. So GardnerLife.com, Ambassador20, 20% off. 20 smackaroos. Next is PureSpectrumCBD.com. Check out all of their CBD products. They have vape pen cartridges. They have oil and tincture. They have all sorts of creams, lotions, things like that are great for the skin. They've got a multitude of products, and none of it has any of the THC in it. It's all legal in all 50 states. It's nothing but the medicinal CBD, cannabidiol. It's steroids for your immune system. I always say it. And, just go to their website, PureSpectrumCBD.com, and use the promo code TheCreepyWeasel, TheCrep, Weasel. 15% off, guys. And, like I said, can't beat 15% off. All right, our last but not least, the people that are keeping what's left of me pretty, WeAreDapperTies.com. They will make you look like a gentleman. These guys really do have some awesome knit ties. I always read this ad in some type of weird, horrible accent to either, torture you into listening or at least make you laugh to listen, because I know all you guys have short attention spans. Who are you texting? My meter's saying I only got 60% of your attention span right now. I have a meter in your brain with the satellite, Stop texting. I need all 100% of the attention span. More than 60%. Come on. All right. I'm going to read this WeAreDapperTies.com ad in the Billy Mays. Remember the OxyClean? His voice, the OxyClean guy? The one who he's always on the late night commercials convincing you that, if you don't have this, your house is going to blow up. Yeah, we're going to do this in Billy Mays' voice. All right. Let's try this. We Are Dapper Ties is a company created by brothers Andrew and Julian. They believe that feeling and looking great should be affordable for everybody. So whether you're rocking the suit and tie daily, headed to your first interview, looking classy for a date, or you just want to look good, you need a dapper tie. 3 for the price of 1, 4 for the price of 2. It's crazy. They're put together, beautiful designs, selection of knitted, unique, and keyword. Oh my God, I can't feel my face. They're affordable. They're so affordable. Go to WeAreDapperTies.com. Enter the promo code CREEPY. Yes, that's creepy, to get yourself some free shipping on all your orders inside the United States. Oh yes, people. Oh my God, I can't feel my face. That's right. The United States of America. Free shipping with the promo code CREEPY. Oh my God. I really can't feel my face. There you go, people. That's my Billy Mays impression. And no, I'm not on meth. I promise. I'm just creepy, I guess. So yeah, without further ado, let me go ahead and buzz my guest, old Mikey T. Brown. Give me 1 second, people. I'm going to put you on pause and bring you right back. All right, I got my guest on, good friend of mine, and I'm sure all of you guys know him, whether you're in the MMA world or not. He's the legendary world champion, the head coach at American Top Team. I could go on and hug his nuts all night, but Mike Brown, say hello.
Hello. Dude, are we on? We're on the Creepcast right now?
Dude, I actually, what I do every time, I stick a satellite in my listener's brain. I've got over 100,000 listeners. I stick the satellite in their brain, and they just hear voices all night. And at the end, I have to talk them out of going to the psychiatrist. So you are officially on the Creepcast, but you're kind of inceptioned into people's brains right now.
That's a good idea.
Dude, it's pretty creepy. And yeah, it is officially the Creepcast. So
I like the sound of that. What number is this? What are we on now?
Oh, we're on number 9, and I should have saved you for number 10 to make it special, but I figured
we're rolling through them.
Dude, I'm like I said, in 9 podcasts, I've got 100,000 listeners. I can't keep them off of me. I mean, I've got people standing outside my house with a microphone, always trying to ask, how I did it so fast. Rogan's asking me for advice.
It's like Black Friday, where people are hanging outside of Best Buy, trying to get that, free Zenith Or discounted Zenith TV.
Yep, exactly, bro. They're just trying to get that first download of the Creepcast.
That's right, man.
I actually, I just watched that Flow Combat stream of Caleb and Lamar and Gabe fight. Did you get to see the results from those yet?
No, I did not.
Dude.
I saw a photo of Gabe. I know Gabe won. How'd everybody else do?
Dude, it went pretty well, man. Lamar won his fight by decision. Gabe got his fight. Lamar fought first. Then Gabe won his fight with a really slick guillotine. Just came out real nice, aggressive, throwing good combos, getting his head off the center. Went for the takedown, got it. The guy got up. He got the front headlock, and dude, with the arm in too. Not like just the neck. Got it with the arm in. Turned the guy all the way over into mount and tapping the whole way. And Caleb, yeah, he knocked his dude out with a slam.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's a pretty solid lineup. I would expect they would do pretty damn well.
It was awesome. It was awesome. There's a good picture of Gabe. It's got Steve Bruno, Mako, and Mako's got that classic twisted smile.
Oh yeah,
it's good. You tell he's got a dip in. It was a good one, man.
Good, always good stuff.
I gotta say too, one more thing about that show, man. The production was good. They had a bunch of camera angles. I was watching on Flow Combat. Stream didn't go out once, and I mean, from what I could see, it looked like they packed out the Hard Rock Live. Damn near full, man. I don't know if they cut off part of the arena or whatever, but it was crowded.
Flow Combat is now running MMA shows.
Well, it's not. So Flow Combat streamed it. It was the Alliance MMA, and it was under the name Shogun Fights, I think.
Flow Combat. I would, for some reason, I was just thinking Flow Wrestling.
Yeah, well, that's the same. I think it's the same exact site. They got Flow Wrestling, Flow Grappling, and all that good stuff. But man, it was good, man. It looked good for Caleb too. He was the co-main event. He really got the crowd hyped up, and he came at the dude super aggressive. High volume combos, rocked him with an elbow, and then the guy went to try to counter Caleb's takedown with the whizzer. But Caleb had such a high underhook, he just shucked the underhook and knocked the dude flat on his face, and it KO'd the guy on the mat.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's ready for the big show, man.
It was awesome, man. It was really good to see. So, I actually got a couple topics I wanted to ask you about. Just as a personal fan of the whole Japan MMA scene, I was really jealous you got to go over and see Kyogi do what he did, man. How was that?
Man, it was pretty damn cool, man. He made the right choice going over there, making the switch from the UFC to Rizin. It's they're really getting behind him. The production is amazing, and it's an entertaining show. He's bringing back the whole tournament thing, which is really cool. He fought 3 fights in 2 nights, essentially. He fought 1 fight, had a night off, and then 2 more fights the next night. And it just makes for good TV. And there was a lot of drama involved. It was really cool. Andy bumped up a weight at 35 to do it, so
even better.
It was super cool, super entertaining.
Oh, dude, I remember he had a head and arm choke. He got a knock. Didn't he have 2 knockouts and 1 submission?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
It was impressive, and in the semis, the first fight of the second night, so it's 2 fights in 1 night.
Right.
The semifinals and finals, he got a really bad concussion from a headbutt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Heads. Yeah, and he literally didn't remember what happened. Didn't remember the end of the fight. It was pretty crazy. So much that we thought he shouldn't continue.
Yeah.
This guy has a bad concussion. He shouldn't fight. And but there wasn't 1 second where he thought about not fighting. He was, oh no, I'm fighting.
Yeah. So he was still conscious in the present, like you said. He forgot a couple moments within the fight, which is always a bit scary. But he was still cognizant and there to go for the next one, huh?
Yeah. Well, he got backstage and he didn't know what happened,
Oh.
kind of how we won or what happened. And then you would tell him, and his memories couldn't form. 2 minutes later, he'd ask you what happened again. He had a bad concussion. In America, there's no way they would let him fight again.
Yeah, but this is Bloodsport Japan, dude. This is, hey man, that's why I love the Japanese scene. They're such purists, at least compared to the rest of the world, it seems.
Oh, it's that Bushido spirit, man. Like I was with Mikey Rod, and we were both, chatting, and we thought he shouldn't fight. Like, man,
obviously you're looking out
you're
for
hurt.
him.
You're not yourself. But he was like, no, I'm okay. But I mean, it took him a while till he could, kind of form new memories.
Dang.
It took him like an hour or so till he could.
How long did he have between fights?
I mean, it was probably like 4 hours.
Okay. Okay.
But it took like an hour because he was like the first 2 fights of the night and then the last fight of the night.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously a concussion's not going to heal in 4 hours. It's good at least that he was able to kind of regain his senses. I mean, how did he look in the warm-up for his second fight?
I mean, he looked fine.
Good.
I mean, it was just we were worried that if he got hit again, maybe he would go right back into that concussion mode.
Yeah, it can daze you.
All wobble. I mean, and they had to stitch him up too. So he had a bunch of stitches in his head.
Oh man.
And I mean, I guess the stitches are minor compared to the concussion.
Kyogi's such a savage, dude. He really is. I mean, I don't think he gets credit for being very talented and a hard worker. I'm not at our gym. We know he's a savage, but I think the MMA world, they're like, oh, that guy's really talented. We hear he's a hard worker, but they don't realize just how like gritty to the bone that guy is.
No, he's been pretty incredible. Yeah, the last couple of days he's been wrestling with the guy Daniel Dennis, the guy Steve Mako brought in, Olympic wrestler. The guy was in the Olympics not too long ago. And
how did that look?
Well, he's a small guy about the same size as Kyogi, and they were scrapping, and the guy was so impressed with Kyogi.
It's amazing.
I came over and he's like, wow, man, this guy's a freak. I couldn't believe that he never wrestled before.
That is so awesome, dude. It's funny. Mako did a little live stream the other day, and I shot him a quick question through the chat, and I was like, what's an MMA? What's one of the best wrestlers in the gym who didn't come from a wrestling background? And the first dude he brought up was Kyogi, which obviously he's worthy of that, dude. I mean, I've gotten to see it. I don't get to train with him, obviously. There's a big size difference, but he's just amazing, man. He really is.
Yeah, amazing shot, amazing double leg, amazing drive. I mean, it's impressive.
Another
guy who was really good was Mursad. Mursad had
absolutely
really good wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe some of the best in the gym, and he never wrestled before, which is impressive.
He didn't do any high school wrestling back in Nebraska?
Never.
Really? Yeah, that is impressive, man.
T-Bow, too. T-Bow.
Yeah.
T-Bow Gleason has the second most takedowns in UFC history.
Ridiculous.
And I don't think he really wrestled too much. I mean, he might have wrestled a little bit in Brazil, but I'm not sure.
He would have made a nice football player. You just, bulk him up, put his whole life towards football. He would have been able to sack some QBs.
He's got that double leg down, man.
Yeah, man. Him and Mako actually mentioned him too. Masvidal, man. I mean, Masvidal didn't get enough credit for his wrestling.
Yeah, well, Masvidal, he became a real student of the sport and jumped in head first and
true that
and really immersed himself in the sport.
That's what I
picked a lot up.
I remember hearing Askren say that. He kind of critiqued guys on Rogan's podcast. He was just saying, if you're going to go learn wrestling, you got to go in, you got to get your head underwater. You got to really learn it. You can't just do it here and there at your own convenience, just like he had to do with the striking. And, when you see a striker like Kyogi, striker like Masvidal, that's right, too. Now that I think of it, Mursad, I think, was a boxer before he really got in MMA. So you get these guys who just go head deep, get underwater with it, and man, it pays dividends. Yeah. It really does. So
I think,
what's up?
Well, I think George being good buddies with Colby, they would scrap all the time, and then I know they made some trips to different places. They went to maybe Wyoming to some Division I program in Wyoming. Then they went to Oregon maybe and wrestled there for couple weeks or a month or so, and he just stayed at those places and just wrestled every day with a good wrestling Division I program and it just shot him up,
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That will pay dividends. I did the complete girl version of that. I went and just worked with some of Mako's high schoolers one day and was, it's just impressive the level when you're wrestling. Not just, not wrestling where you can hit your back on the mat and chill, like real wrestling. Like you do not let your back touch the mat at all costs. And dude, it's just a different level of energy and output. It really is.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Speaking of which, today was the Division I National Championships. Did you catch any of that?
I saw a lot of the highlights. I was watching I folded and watched the UFC in London, and then I watched the Flow Combat Shogun Fight event. But I saw some of the highlights, and they were insane. I mean, some of the upsets that go on at that tournament are just it's almost crazier than the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, it's really big. I mean, anytime you got a tournament, a tournament bracket style setup, it makes for that, because it's single elimination. Everything comes down to this one tournament.
Yep.
If you have a bad match, if you slip on a banana peel, or if you get hurt, your dreams could be shattered.
Yeah, dude. And the stakes are as high as they get in college wrestling. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy always to me how tough wrestling is, and what they do to their body, and how little money is involved in it.
Oh, dude, it's all for the glory. I mean, period.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
And they're destroying their bodies, man. It's so tough, and
I saw a lot of
crazy.
I saw a lot of the scholarships and stuff. It would just say like undecided, because it's like this kid. I mean, yeah, he's getting an education, but he ain't there for the books, man. He's there for the mats. This kid is trying to put in the work, and you saw that, man. The guy, like you said, guys just leaving it out. This one kid, I couldn't tell if he got DQ'd or not. I don't know if you saw this match, but he was just kind of being like super arrogant, super cocky, being dirty as hell, and then he like jumped up, did like almost like a cartwheel, and then he jumped a Kimura on this kid and started wrenching like a straight up jiu-jitsu style Kimura, and then they separated him, and then I think the kid got DQ'd.
Dang, I haven't seen it yet. No, I haven't. I DVR'd the finals because I was at the movies. I'm gonna watch them.
No, definitely
tonight, but
there was some crazy matches.
I gotta check it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's so many matches. Like you said, it's a tournament style, so you've got all these different weight classes, and these matches they just keep running them back to back. So I only got to catch a couple of the highlights, but I'll have to go watch those finals.
Yeah, and and anything can happen. Doesn't matter if you're, the last seed or the first seed. Like all it takes is one lapse of concentration, and the match can be over. You get stuck on your back, or something crazy happens, and that's a wrap.
Yeah, dude,
you're in the losers bracket.
Losers bracket, or like you said, you could be the number 10 guy coming against the number 1, and he slips on the banana peel. You take advantage, snatch the head, and a couple points later, boom, you got it, or whatever the situation is. Whether you just like you said, one little 2-minute period of pure focus can change your life or ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and I've always kind of thought this way. And like I went to a small school, like a small D3 school, and it always amazed me at like how, I mean, I thought Division III was tough. It's like these kids are it's really hard. They're practicing, I feel like, just as hard, destroying their bodies equally as hard as the D1 kids on scholarship and all this. And it's completely for the love. You go to the meet and there's like, 40 people there, 30 people there. It's like your mom, your dad, and maybe your girlfriend. It's like nobody cares about it. And these guys are killing themselves, cutting a ton of weight, doing 2-a-days. Practice are always 2 hours plus.
Damn.
And it's, multiple surgeries and
Fight Club, man.
Usually when you're done by a senior, everybody's got a limp and a cauliflower ear.
It's just Fight Club out there, dude.
Oh, it's crazy. I think it's so bad for your joints.
Absolutely. Unless you're hitting that yoga every day, which I'm guilty of, and that's why you saw what happened to me last week. If you ain't hitting the yoga or doing some type of icing, especially with all that hard grappling that comes with wrestling, man, you're gonna pay the price.
Oh, I mean, it's just. I mean, you do it long enough, you're gonna have a few surgeries. You know.
That's all there is to it, dude. That is all.
They're gonna have to put you back to, unless you're made of like complete titanium, which is like Steve Mako's case.
Yeah.
The guy's,
Jesus.
Yeah, he's wrestled at the highest level since he was like a young kid. And never had one surgery, which kind of blows my mind. It
is insane. I'll never forget when he first moved down here and he wasn't doing any coaching. He was just purely, competing and fighting. He went fishing with, tall, skinny Jake. And Jake was just laughing at me. He's like, bro, I just watched Mako, mop the mat with everybody on a Monday wrestling practice. He had already done mitts for an hour that morning, and all he did afterwards, he's like, dude, I had to go, across, get to Publix, get, a whole sub and all this. He goes, Mako just got a ham and cheese from the 7-Eleven gas station and, a six-pack of Natty Light and was just, happy as hell with that and just fishing. So it's straight after wrestling practice, Natty Light, ham and cheese from 7-Eleven, let's go fishing.
He's a different type of animal, man. He's not normal.
No, he's not. He really is not normal at all. And I don't want to, not to change the subject, but to add on one more thing. Speaking of, strikers, and I guess he was still a good grappler, but speaking of strikers in general who turned over with and have really good wrestling now, Poirier. Dustin, and he's also got an awesome fight coming up, and I wanted to get your take on that because obviously you guys work a lot together, and I'm so excited for that fight.
Yeah, me too, man. Well, yeah, TP's student of the game, man. He watches everything, he studies everything. He watches, from every big show to every little show. He knows every fighter that's out there.
Yeah,
and he studies techniques, and he's a gifted athlete, man. He's going after it, man. He's on the grind all the time and always getting better. And damn, I'm excited for this fight.
I know, dude. It's hard to believe too how young Dustin still is. You just think how long he's been around and just not only in the UFC but just in MMA, and he's not even 30 yet.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, even if he wasn't my buddy, I would be more excited for this fight than any other fight this year.
I feel you, dude. I feel you. I'm so biased too because he's a tall, lanky southpaw, and he's just extra gritty, extra mean. He's
just him and Gaethje. Both of them have never had a boring minute of action in any of their fight careers.
Yeah, I don't think
every minute has been awesome.
Literally every minute. I don't think there's been more than 15 seconds of pause between either of these guys for sure.
Yeah, of somebody getting crushed, So
absolutely.
I mean, hopefully, I'm hoping that it's not exciting.
Right.
And it's pretty one-sided, but man, it has all the makings of a classic, unbelievable war.
Absolutely. I don't want to obviously get you to divulge any of the game plan or anything like that, but I was BSing about this fight last week on the Creepcast, and from a fan's perspective, one thing I like about this fight, I mean, you've been seeing Dustin use a lot of Dustin's got a longer reach than me, if I'm not mistaken. I think his reach is 80 inches, which is ridiculous, and he obviously cracks like a damn hard-hitting 85er, even when he was at 45. So he's got huge power. And one thing I like that he's been doing, he's been using his reach on everybody. I mean, before Alvarez had that, illegal knee, he was cracking Alvarez from the outside, really not taking shots. He took one shot and seemed like he was kind of cleaning it up, recovering, going back to the grappling. And I really like that he's still, but Dustin Poirier, not a minute without action, but he's using his reach. He's looking smooth. He's feinting a lot, and I really think that's going to make a big difference, man. I think if he comes out there with that, feint 1-2, chopping with his low kick, staying outside of Gaethje's counters, I think like you said, it could be, instead of being a classic war, it could be vintage Poirier knockout, first or second round, no damage, move on.
Yeah, it's just, being patient and selective and
yes.
Not getting emotional. That's what happened in the Alvarez fight. He was picking him apart
beautifully,
and until he hurt him bad, and then when he hurt him bad, he kind of smelled blood, and he just kind of stopped defending himself and just went in for the kill and started swinging wildly.
Yeah.
And he got clipped, which then, made things, a little messy.
Absolutely.
And then, he got rocked after that. And then, they got in some sort of scramble. And then next thing you know, he's on his hands and knees. And then he gets hit with an illegal knee.
Yeah.
But it was a wild fight. And, he showed what he could do, in the first round and a half of that fight.
Absolutely.
His patient takes his time. He hurts guys, and
Yeah.
he's very hard to hit.
That's what I liked. Like you said, he showed what he was capable of in that fight, and then when he fought Pettis, I thought it really came to fruition because Pettis is a guy that's not necessarily going to be the hardest, grittiest guy, but as far as smoothness and technique, he can go. With any of the, I guess you'd say, flashy strikers, Pettis can go one-on-one with any of those guys, technique for technique, and that's what I like seeing out of Poirier. He was able to keep it up with one of the best technical strikers on the planet, and then use his Dustin Poirier grit to out-grit that guy, and then broke him, and I thought that was one of his best moments, so I'm really pumped to see this fight, man. I think Gaethje makes a good style for him.
Yeah, I think with Pettis, I felt like his big advantages were the wrestling and conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
Pettis has got good jiu-jitsu on the ground, right? He submitted some elite fighters on the ground.
Yeah, and he hit a couple slick sweeps in that fight.
Yeah, but he's been susceptible to being out-wrestled. He gets taken down a lot. He has trouble getting back up. And I think DP has, really good muscle endurance. And when he starts, wearing on you, most fighters will slow down and he won't.
Yeah, bro. They don't want that raging Cajun on him, dude.
Hell no.
He really is a mean son of a bitch.
He's trying not to be the raging Cajun, but he's fighting it really hard.
Hey, as long as he's technical, man. He's looking better and better every time. And this is from a fan's perspective, trying to not be biased. And when I watch him fight, I'm like, dude, this guy's closing up his holes fast. And then you just can't. And he's getting meaner while doing it. That's the thing. Some guys, I feel like they get technical and kind of lose some of that ferocity. But he's still got it burning. I love it.
Yeah, he's there, man. I think he's a fight away from the title.
Hell yeah, man. One good performance. One good, second. I just want to see a 10-8 round against Gaethje and a second round knockout, man. That's I'm pulling hard for that one.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Hell yeah. Well, how about the two big lady fights in the gym coming up? Joanna and Amanda. How are those girls looking? They having good camps and everything?
Yeah, it appears that everything's in line and in order, and
it's awesome.
I really like both of the matchups for both of them.
I do too. I like Amanda's matchup especially, and I'm really interested to see Joanna get a second crack.
Yeah, I think. I think they'll both be heavy. They're both favorites, and for a good reason.
True that, man. Amanda is just. I honestly, dude, I think Amanda really poses a threat to Cyborg, and that in itself is saying something. So Amanda's gonna have all the grappling credentials I think Raquel would have, if not more, and then you've got that vicious striking on top of it. That one almost seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, Raquel has done well lately. She's had a lot of very close fights and has found ways to get by and win these close ones and kind of put herself in a position for a title spot or a title fight. But I think Amanda has fought most of the top girls already, and this is kind of just falling into place, but I think this is a good fight for Amanda.
Hell yeah, man. And Amanda, she's not the type of girl to take anybody lightly either. That's the thing. When I look at her, even when I see her sparring sometimes, she kind of has that look of she just doesn't want to give an inch. She doesn't want to leave herself open. She's just never seems to be in that, oh, I got this mindset. I think that's really an awesome thing, especially when you start defending your belt a couple times, to keep that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her and Nina sparring a few times. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, they go at it. You know,
that's awesome.
I've been a few times where it was. I thought it'd be worth paying admission to see it.
Yeah, I believe it, dude. Nina's a mean chick. Nina's a mean girl, and it's actually funny. My good friend, and he's a guy who sold me my house. He grew up on the same street as Nina. He was like best friends with her little brother, and he told me, he's like, dude, when we were kids, Nina was like the big badass, dude. You did not fuck around with Nina. Like, she would beat your ass, same age, whether it was a dude her same age or one of her little brother's friends or some other chick messing with her little brother. Apparently, she was not to be stepped to on their street down in, I think it was in Kendall or somewhere near Miami.
I believe it, you know. And she was always like into martial arts as a kid too, so she had that in her back pocket. So she was always probably the toughest girl on the block, that's for sure.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, you're always traveling, Mike. You literally travel probably the equivalent of miles as an astronaut, except you just stayed within the atmosphere. So, like, I actually want to tell everybody, you're obviously a huge dog person. You love dogs. Is that one of the ways that keeps you sane? Like, when you come home, like, how do you just relax and unwind? I mean, you're always at the gym, dude. Always putting in the hours. I mean, and it's not just with these high-level pros. You're help building guys. And then, when do you settle the hell down? And how much of that time is with the whack pack?
Yeah, and I definitely miss them on the road. That's for sure. But it's, hey, you get what you can, Usually every night is wind down time, go out in the backyard, throw the ball around, and that's it, man. I try to find my spots. Weekends we go to the dog park here and there. But yeah, I mean, it is tough. I can see how people would have trouble traveling if they had kids, because I miss my dogs like crazy. So I'm sure a kid is like times 1,000,
Absolutely.
But I miss him a lot.
So has George the pug finally started to grow in your heart? I mean, has he really started to take it over?
He's got some sort of weird skin disease right now. Something wrong.
Oh, George.
No, it's his allergies, dude. He's got allergies. We have to just change his food. His pugs are allergic to a lot of food, so he's always getting allergies. He looks like he's got some sort of doggy scabies.
Oh, man.
None of the other dogs want to go around him because they think he's got something.
Dude, pugs can be a nightmare, man. The pug that I had, I ended up having to give him to a person who had a farm because he was a psycho. But Georgie's a cool guy.
He's got cataracts. He's only 3 years old.
Oh my god, Georgie, why the bad luck, man?
He actually loves Leah a lot. I bought him for me, but he loves Leah a lot more. So
yeah, so he
always lays on Leah, always with my girl. He won't. It's like her child for sure.
So who's your baby? Is it Peanut? Peanut's got to be your baby.
Peanut, yeah, Peanut and JoJo. I think it's kind of weird. The girls are attracted to me, and the guys is attracted to Leah for some strange reason.
He's a mama's boy. Yeah, I met JoJo the last time I went by your place, and JoJo's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's still a bit of a puppy, so she's still a little bit of a monster, chewing on stuff, wrecking stuff.
That's the best, though.
Causing trouble.
Telling you, bro.
Blame it on George.
Blame on George every time. You got to get 2 toy poodles, dude. I'm telling you, toy poodles are the way to go. They'll add on to your family in ways you can't imagine.
Poodles are too smart. I'm looking for a dumber dog that I can outwit. George the pug. I can somebody who I can really outwit and outsmart.
Dude. I got to a point I had to stop doing it. I felt so bad. I kept sending you all those Doug the Pug videos. I was just like, dude, he's got to be sick of this shit. They were too good, man. Some of those videos, him and Dinky the dog, I don't know what it is, man. It's like a 3-year-old humor bone that it taps into with me.
No, yeah, it's great. Leah does the same for me. She's always sending me like dog videos, cat videos.
Nice. Then don't you have like a Bubbles amount of stray cats that just kind of hang around your backyard?
Yeah. I have a small cat farm. Yeah. I have 3 cats and 3 dogs. It's like a farm, but
Little Kittyland Love Center.
yeah, it's I guess what do you call it? One of those free range farms because we have like a dock door, so they come and go as they please. You know, it's really. They don't have to live here if they don't want to, but they choose to.
It's free open range, If somebody from like China or something wants to come by and get some cat meat, they got the organic stuff over at your house.
I'll sell one of the cats. That's for sure.
Now, who is that barking? Is that George?
No, that was Peanut.
Oh, little Peanut. Oh, Prissy.
Somebody heard something from outside. They're always on watch, 24/7.
So we got special guests, man. We got the poodle gang and the Whack Pack, all in the building. I noticed too. I wanted to ask this question just because it's a random question I've been meaning to ask you. What I always see you go to that Burning Man festival where you guys almost look like you're all dressed up. It looks like that. What's that movie?
Like maybe Mad Max.
Thank you. It looks like Mad Max, but a concert. What is that?
It's like, it's tough to describe, I guess, but it's kind of like this music / art / I don't know how you describe it, but yeah, if you don't know much about Burning Man, it's a really fun, interesting, kind of artistic festival in somewhere in the desert of Nevada.
Dude, it looked awesome.
Black Rock City. It's really fun, really cool.
What kind of bands do they have there?
It's more like DJs and stuff like this, and maybe music is not it's not just about music. It's like a lot of art. I would say.
Yeah.
And just people hanging out and.
It was crazy. People were dressed up in they had like stilts on and looked like 10-foot tall robots. It just looked really sick. Every time I see pictures,
yeah, it's a lot of like freedom of expression and a lot of people.
Sounds like a progressive
just
festival.
Relaxing, having a good time, and yeah, it's very progressive and it's really fun. My favorite part is kind of like the art. There's a lot of crazy art sculptures.
Hell yeah.
People kind of dress up in like a lot of, kind of costume, fancy dressed, kind of futuristic type of garb, and it's just really cool and really fun.
That sounds awesome. Awesome. Well, I have to go do some YouTubing on that. And before I let you go here, now I've got to put you on the spot. I gotta talk all about you. I need you to tell these people how cool you are about your new rap album, all that, how much money and hoes you got,
My new rap album.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like so musically challenged. Everyone always makes fun of me. I can't carry a tune or a beat. It's funny, I can hear it in my ear, but I can't make it come out of my mouth. Like, if I hear a tune, like I know a song, I can hear it. But then when I try to make the sound out of my mouth, I cannot make it at all. It's strange. I don't know if it's genetic or if it's because I just haven't practiced enough, but I'm really bad at turning tunes.
You could just be the whitest man in the rap game, coming hard at you from Maine.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I wanted
the whitest dude out there.
I wanted to do it. Well, we already talked. Oh, that's my prissy this time. I wanted to talk a little bit. We already talked about some of the people you coach and everything, but I just wanted to talk about a couple of your coaching mindsets, just to give maybe some up-and-coming fighters or some other coaches some insight to, I like to think a great mind. One thing I really like about your coaching style is you're really open-minded. I mean, you've been in the game for a long, long time. And for you to still listen to maybe someone who's only been training for 3 or 4 years and they really have something good to show and you walk over with no ego and you're like, oh, dude, that's really cool. And you maybe find a way to implement it. I like that a lot. So what are a couple of key points that you like to keep in mind when you're coaching? Maybe a couple rules of thumb.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just made a good point. You know, whatever works, works, man. And, things are discovered every day from different people, and that's what's the beauty of ATT. It's like kind of a melting pot of knowledge. I agree. People from all over the world bringing different techniques and different ideas, and you know, it's trading ideas. You know, and I'm too trying to get better every day, and the sport's evolving every day. So new techniques are discovered every day. So it's important that we keep sharing and trading and evolving, and I think that's what's most important, that we don't stay stagnant, and there is nothing that is set. You know, it's an evolving creature, you know, and let it grow.
Absolutely. That's one thing I think makes a big difference. I mean, for you know, I've definitely been around for a little while, but just all the different coaches. Sometimes you get those guys where they're awesome coaches, they're awesome people, but they kind of have their head just in a specific place, and they really don't want to, you know, look at other things or accept other things as something that might be possible. And you almost get to a point where you're scared to ask them a certain question, or you just kind of leave certain questions unsaid. But with you, I've always felt like, dude, you know, Mike, take a look at this. What do you think? What do you think? How about this? I've always felt really like almost like you, Mako, and a couple other guys are people I really want to take my questions to. Because I know your bullshit meter's high. You're always reading for bullshit, but at the same time, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool that you think that way. I think it is important to be open-minded, you know. And, I mean, but we all can be stubborn at times, and we all can be hard-headed at times, you know.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
You know, you try to be open-minded and realize that, you know, everything was invented somewhere and by somebody, and you know, and we've all probably discovered our own techniques on our own, you know. Sometimes it's parallel thinking, you know.
True that.
Maybe somebody didn't show you something. You're just coming up with something that other people are doing, but you kind of found it on your own too. This happens also quite a bit, I think.
Absolutely. I really like to think that even if you, like, jiu-jitsu is already there. You don't make it up. You just discover it. You know, the move is already there. It's like sometimes you get those moves where you finally do it, or maybe you make it up, or you just finally figure it out in a live roll, and you're like, holy shit, like, how did I not see that before? Why would I have tried to do it any other way once it makes sense? You know?
It's like a little pathway. Oh, here's another pathway.
Yeah. It's like the path was already there. Exactly. And you just finally moved the branches and saw it.
Yeah, and, there's a path to victory. You know, I didn't know it was here, but it was always here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually wanted to tell a really funny story too, that I thought you would find pretty. I don't. You probably don't remember this. God, I was halfway through not even halfway. I was starting my senior year of high school, and my first fight coach was telling me, like, hey man, if you want to take this seriously, you need to start looking at some big gyms and this and that, because he knew in the small town I was in, it's just, you know, you're only going to get so far. And one of the big teams he kept pushing on me was, you know, ATT. And he's like, listen, man, they're right there in Florida. It's a straight shot down 95. Here's their team. They've been around for a while. Obviously, all the accolades. So he started taking me to see different, you know, UFC fights and stuff. And I got to watch a couple guys compete. And literally, we were going to... Do you remember the John Hackelman, Chuck Liddell, and Lebo seminar?
Where was it at?
It was at ATT back at like the very end of 2008.
I don't remember.
It was literally like the week after you knocked out Uriah.
I don't remember.
Okay. So there was this John Hackelman, Chuck Liddell Laborio seminar, and I'm literally like all amped up because I'm now you know, at this point it's been like 6 months I've been researching ATT, so I'm kind of like a fanboy of ATT. I'm like, I think this is where I'm gonna go, you know, blah blah blah, and I liked Florida to begin with, and so I was all amped up watching your first fight with Uriah Faber, and I remember I had a bunch of friends that I was watching the fight with, and they were all like, nah, man, Uriah's going to kill your boy, blah, blah, blah. And then you KO him, and even better, it was in, you know, Hollywood, which is right next to the gym at the Hard Rock. So all that good stuff. And then I come down the week right after that, literally the following weekend. And they had the seminar on a Sunday, and we came in on a Saturday because we had actually emailed Richie, and he said, yeah, come check out the Saturday training and see what you think. And you were at the front desk, and you had just knocked him out like a week before. And I remember walking into the gym and just being like, oh my God, I was starstruck. I was like, it's Mike Brown. And you were just like, yeah, what's up, guys? You know,
yeah, I'm
just
cheap. I was trying to like make a few more dollars.
Yeah.
Get that money, you know. Like,
exactly.
Clocking out.
Get an extra $60-$70 for the day, just chilling at the front desk.
I'll take what they give me.
But literally, I just thought it's funny because you're literally the very first face I ever saw at American Top Team in person.
Yeah, people did find that funny. I think a lot of people got a kick out of that.
Did you actually? So you worked the front desk?
Doing pretty well in fighting and still working at the front desk.
I didn't realize you worked the front desk because I didn't actually come down until like 6 months after that, and I don't remember. Maybe you were still working it, or maybe you had resigned from the front desk duties by then. I don't know.
No, I was still there.
Damn. Maybe I just don't.
I think so. I know. Like in the end, I just went back to weekends. Like I would work like one day a week.
Yeah.
And it would help. Like I would get insurance through the gym. I would pay for my insurance.
Nice.
You know, and kind of get like medical insurance with like, because I was still an employee. Somehow.
Right.
And I did that for a while, and people got a kick out of that for some reason.
No, that's awesome, man. That's smart thinking, dude. And you want to know who my first role at the gym was? He rolled with me that day. Puma. He like literally he came up because Eric, my coach, had emailed him and was super nice to him, and Puma was real nice to him, and he was like, yeah, man, actually, you got the seminar tomorrow, but if you want, I'll roll with you. And so he jumps on the mat with me and rolls with me and inverted heel hooked me. That's all I remember from the roll. But I remember he inverted heel hooked me.
I used to train with him he used to help me get me ready for my fights, and we would go hard. He was very good. He was very good jiu-jitsu.
Dude. He's got slick jiu-jitsu.
And he was like a good training partner for me. We used to scrap, and
I didn't know y'all trained together. That's pretty interesting. I had no idea y'all trained together.
Yeah, well, it would be like he and I alone. Like we would go, and me and him would just scrap. We'd do a bunch of goes together. Sometimes we'd run together. Puma was in my corner for a few fights.
I think I remember that. But
he was
that's
there
awesome.
For a couple of title fights.
That's awesome. No, I knew he was a good grappler, but I didn't know you guys did actual, getting ready for a fight, training together and all that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we were similar weight, and he had very good jiu-jitsu, so we would roll, and slap hands and go at it. He's got a very good guillotine, and he's got a very good guillotine on the left arm.
Interesting.
So, a lot of people use the right arm, so he's got a good left arm guillotine. That's what I remember. He's got me with it before, and that's what I remember.
Nice, dude. I'm going to have to, once I get back on the mat, I'm going to have to challenge him to a good roll.
No, he doesn't roll much anymore. He says he slowed down the last couple of years. He's in his 50s now, and
maybe I can break his balls into it, pro wrestle talk him into it. We'll do it in the back room and the secret room back there.
Yeah, maybe if you insult him enough.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe so. And yeah, speaking of the Uriah fight, I'm sure you've gotten a million questions about it. But that both those fights are like an eclipse to me. Because I came down the week after your first one, and then 6 months later, so I fought 3 amateur fights the second half of my senior year, and then literally the day after my third fight, you fought Uriah in the rematch and then beat him, And it was funny because I had just graduated high school, and then I was sitting with all my friends at a graduation party, and we're watching the same fight. Same friends are talking shit and no, man, your boy was just a fluke. He's going to lose again. They're just huge Uriah fans. And then you crush him, and I'm talking all this shit back to them, and then the next day I moved down again. So I'm telling you, those fights were like eclipses to me. So I gotta ask, what from whatever you, maybe something you haven't said that much, what was something about that fight that what was your mindset before those fights, both of them, as far as just maybe a day out, 2 days out, did it hit you how big of a fight it really was?
I mean, all all I can say is that I remember just being, I was confident, and then in both of those fights, you know, we were a really good team back then. We had many great fighters, so I trained well with those guys. Not that I would beat them, but I was scrapping with all the best guys, some of the best guys in the world, and I knew that I could hang with anybody. So I'm like, and I felt like I was a little bigger and a little stronger than them, and I'm like, I was confident, and you know, that's what I remember most, just being like. And I felt it was like almost like a no-lose situation. Like, everybody thinks this guy's really good, but I'm like, this guy's not that good. I feel like I'm, you know, he's got a lot to deal with me. So
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
I just felt confident.
Especially, you had such tight punching, man. That was one of my favorite things in both those fights, is how tight you kept your punching. Head would always move just off the center with all your power shots. You stuck behind your jab really well, and yeah, how in the hell did it work out so perfectly too that first fight got to be, you know, virtually in your hometown at the Hard Rock, just right up the street?
Yeah, I think they were just trying to find ways to sell it, you know, and it's like they thought, you know, if it wasn't in his hometown, maybe okay, well, we'll put it in the other guy's hometown, and you know, I think that was their reasoning. It actually got postponed. It was supposed to be a few months earlier, and we had a big hurricane. So, like,
that's right.
Literally the week before the fight, it got pushed back another like month and a half or something, which was kind of a pain in the ass. And then it did happen, and then I got the KO, which was great. And then we ended up having a rematch, you know, like 8 months later in his hometown, and then I won a decision there, and it was.
That's as good as it gets, dude. You get the KO in your hometown, and then you get the decision in the rematch in his hometown.
Yeah, it was a very hostile crowd, honestly.
Yeah.
I could say maybe the most hostile crowd I've ever seen.
Really, dude? So how was
actually,
that?
I'll say second most hostile. The first most hostile crowd I've ever seen is with Colby Covington when. After he beat Damian Maia and said,
"Oh my God, dude!
Brazil is a dump, and you guys are all filthy animals."
I'm surprised y'all didn't get shot. I'm surprised y'all did not get shot or like a chair thrown at you. I guess they can't remove the bleacher chairs, but yeah, dude, I remember watching that on TV, and you could feel the heat and the anger coming off those people through the TV.
It was pretty crazy, yeah.
Well, like how because you had to walk out second in Sacramento, so he already walks out first, gets the whole crowd hyped to, you know, California love. So when you were walking out, like, do you remember any like specific faces from the crowd, or did someone say something to you that you might remember?
Oh, big time! It was well. First, I remember from the weigh-ins, it was like, you know, I didn't expect it, you know, but like as I walked out to weigh in, it was just like. Shout like boo, like the just everyone yelling, you know, like it was all negative. It felt like, you know, I mean, it probably was like 95%, 99% of people hated me there, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then Reed Harris grabbed me real quick and pulled me off and was like, I thought they were gonna start throwing stuff, and I was like, damn, I didn't expect that.
Jesus.
And then so I kind of expected it for the fight then. So then I'm like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with a little bit. But then when as I came out, you know, and I was always like, I was never like a villain or a bad guy.
No.
It was a little bit of a shock to me, but it was like everyone was booing me, giving me the finger, calling me some sort of name, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you pussy, and middle fingers everywhere, and then some of them, like, I remember like looking some people in the eye, like I was kind of like blown away by it. I would like stop and look people in the eye. Some of them I would like blow a kiss at them, you know. Just, like, I was in this weird frame of mind, but it kind of like got me going, you know.
Yeah.
I actually liked it. I was like, it made me kind of angry inside. You're like, all right, yeah, let's.
Yeah.
I almost enjoyed it, you know. It made me want to fight more. Like,
absolutely,
all right, motherfucker, let's go.
I love it. You're going down like Jesus carrying the cross through a crowd of Romans, except you decided to take the nails out.
In a weird way, you're like, you liked it because like nobody wanted you to win. Nobody thought you could win. So it's kind of easy.
Yeah, yeah.
I almost find it a lot tougher when you fight at home, when everyone thinks you're going to win and everyone's on your side. I almost find that's a lot more pressure.
I totally see that dynamic.
I like being the villain almost.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, who the hell doesn't hate a quiet guy from Maine? I hate guys from Maine, dude.
There's not a whole lot of them, so that's about 600,000 because there's 1.2 million in Maine. So,
man, I really like you said, I definitely feel you on the pressure of a hometown fight over the over just being the guy that, like you said, there's just nothing to lose, especially when you're actually confident in your ability and you know what you're doing. That's obviously got to play a role too. Coming out there confident, nothing to lose. They're all just, I mean, hissing and screaming at you.
Yeah, like everyone thinks you're going to get killed, and that's not true. So it's pretty easy.
Who'd you blow a kiss at? Did you blow a kiss at like the skankiest girl in the crowd?
No. I remember it was like dudes giving me the finger. I remember it was like these guys like giving me the finger, and I just remember like kind of blowing a kiss at them, like, yeah, I love you too, Like
it's like, yeah, you want to fuck? After the fight, dude, I swing that way.
Yeah,
it's really creeping me out. Well, dude, I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. I wanted to ask a couple quick questions. Aside from those two fights, unless they just really are it, what is like one of your favorite fights throughout your entire career? Like one fight that stands out, whether it was even just the experience itself. I know you spent some time in Japan and across the, you fought for Bodog too, didn't you?
Yeah, Bodog was pretty cool. I mean, we fought in Russia. I fought Eve Edwards in Russia. That was one of the first.
No, I think I lost you there. So, sorry about that. We finally got you back on. My computer's being sluggish. We were talking about when you fought Eve Edwards in Bodog for Russia.
Yeah, that was interesting because it's two guys from America. They brought all the way to St. Petersburg to fight each other. It was like a long way to travel to fight, but yeah, it was cool because we became buddies after, but. Yeah, we had a funny moment in the fight. I remember, like, I was actually embarrassed to tell people for a while about it. So I remember for some reason, like, I think I was behind him, and I went to like maybe throw him or something, but he kind of fell and he landed on my stomach, and I farted. I remember in the fight, and he was like, and I was like kind of stuck underneath him, and he goes, "You stinky bastard!" And then he started like trying to hammer fist my face. And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And I was like, I don't remember. I somehow got out of there, but I remember being embarrassed about it and like not telling anybody for a while. And then we chatted about it years later. It was pretty damn funny.
That is hilarious, dude. Is that, you think that, didn't you won a decision that fight, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it was a close fight, but
you think that contributed it? Do you think that's what it was? You just you shit on him, it got him out of his game plan, and ultimately it just helped you to win.
It might have. It could have been that distraction that I needed to, get one by on him.
So has Eves ever tried to get you back and shit on you in the gym?
I guess. No. Thank God.
No farts to the face while you're sitting on the mat or something? Just come up and sucker fart on you?
No. He has not. But it was pretty funny, though. But, I mean, usually, I think only a couple times in my life I had somebody, like, talking to me during the fight,
Yeah, especially in Russia against someone like Eve Edwards.
I had another guy once was trying to tell me something. I didn't know what he was talking about. He was trying to talk to me. I was like on top of him, like punching, and his name was Renat Mirzabekov. He was actually from Kazakhstan.
Oh, okay.
When I was younger, and I remember after, I was like, "What were you saying to me?" And he was telling me he had deja vu.
What? He's like, I dreamed of you beating me.
Having deja vu when we were fighting. And he was trying to signal to me that when we were fighting. It was bizarre.
Why? It's like, why are you telling me that, man? Did you beat the deja vu out of him?
I mean, I caught him in the leg lock, but it it was just a weird experience.
That is really weird. I can imagine you've had some pretty weird fights going all over the world and everything. I mean, and when you fought Eves, hadn't y'all already both fought in the UFC at that point?
Yeah. I mean, I had one fight in the UFC. He had several fights.
Still, you both UFC vets
once
at that
at
point.
155 and was cut. But I mean, I wasn't a 55-pounder. So I was a 45er.
Didn't you fought Genki Sudo, right?
Yeah. This was back in UFC 47, I think 2004. So many years back.
That's incredible. That's some legendary shit right there, man.
Yeah, he's an entertainer, man. He's fun to watch. Always want to this day one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, isn't he like a superstar in Japan beyond MMA? He's like a famous singer and actor and stuff.
He's pretty popular. I mean, I talked to Kyogi, but he's pretty popular. But there are guys. I mean, he's not as popular as like Kid Yamamoto and Kao Uno. I think they're the most famous MMA fighters. Okay. And now maybe Kyogi's up there, or Sakuraba. Sakuraba's very good.
True. Yeah, Sakuraba. Then I'm sure Sakurai's got a following, and yeah, dude, I think Kyoji's gonna be a huge. I mean, he's already big over there, but with what he just did in the Rizin tournament and everything, I think
he's a star of that show. I mean, they're pushing him, and he's delivering.
Hell yeah, dude!
It's only growing.
He's fighting Ian McCall next, correct?
Yeah, that's in May, and it's a good matchup. It's a guy who's, one of the top fighters in the world, and he had once a couple close fights with Demetrius. So
yeah,
and I think it's a good opportunity to look good.
Absolutely. After coming off the big tournament win and everything too. Well, I've been hanging on to you here all night, and I know you're probably getting tired, so I want to end it on a good note. I wanted to ask if you have, for any up-and-coming fighters who might have been like me, 18, confused, looking to come down, not sure where to go with their MMA career, what's maybe one or two good, sound pieces of advice you could give to them?
Man, just try to find some people that are just better than you are. As long as there's somebody in the room that's better than you, that you could get better. And for me, what I always set small goals. I never really set big goals to start with. I was set small goals, achieve them, and then rewrite them, and that's it, man. And just keep chasing it.
I think that speaks volumes. Coming from a guy who's a world champion, who got voted Coach of the Year at the MMA Awards. So I think for all you young fighters out there, keep taking it step by step. Don't stop, and set small goals every day. Those are words of the wise Mike Brown.
Thanks, Creepy, man. It was always good chatting, man.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time, man. You enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm going to try to creep my way back into the gym next week and see what you boys are doing.
All right, Creepy. Take care, brother.
You too, man. Have a good night. There you have it, folks. The legendary, the man, Mike Thomas Brown. Always enjoy talking to that guy. As you hear, he's such a cool dude. And, obviously an amazing competitor, an amazing coach. So anytime we get to talk to him, it's very valuable time. So we're not going to do any emails this week for obvious time reasons, but please send your emails to thecreepyweasel@yahoo.com for our 2 segments, legit or shit, whether you want to know if I think something's legitimate or bullcrap or not, which, not that my advice means anything or carries any weight, and then also the what would Creepy do segment. I could probably give some good advice, pertaining to martial arts and things like that, maybe some fitness advice, but it's really just to add some humor and to, create some interaction. So shoot your emails that way. I'm going to go ahead and pull this satellite out of your head, and you can go back to living your normal life. Thanks for listening to the Creepcast. Peace.